It's so good to see you, dab me up. Alright, yeah. It has been a while. I will be 100% honest there. Last time I think I taught you about hockey, right. My shirt? Oh, thank you, yeah. It's Joker from Persona 5. It's one of my favorite games that I've been playing, and I actually watched the anime and it was actually pretty cool. What do you mean you haven't heard of Persona 5? Let me get this straight. I'm just trying to fathom how. Right, okay, yeah. No, I'm just calling someone. Hey, yeah. It's. No, yeah. You know how I said it was only going to be like a couple hours that we hung out? I know. But hear me out. You know how I was telling you about Persona 5 the other day, right? You weren't listening. Wow, okay, so I guess we're definitely gonna have to talk about it. I mean, babe, come on. You didn't listen? Hello? Really bad time for my phone to die. I am in so much trouble. Oh, jeez. So, anyway, no judgment at all. Would you mind if I told you a little bit about it? I mean, before your first playthrough, I know I came over to play some games together, but I'd love to teach you about it and get you absolutely hooked. This game is enough to make a grown man cry. Okay, yeah, I think I can do it fairly quickly. I kid you not. Apparently she didn't realize this, but I carry around sticky notes all the time, just for a specific occasion like this. So, let me just reach down here. Huge. So, Persona 5 is a JRPG, of course, and it's also going to be a kind of a two-parter. It's been on 3 systems, low-key, like GTA 5 in a sense. What's up with the 5 number of games getting on everything? It was on PS3 first, and then PS4, and then PS5, and of course it was also on the Xbox 360. I believe it was. Persona actually might be just a PlayStation thing. Low-key, yeah. Starting off great. But no, it's a fantastic game, and I might not know all the history to it, but I swear you gotta hear me out on this game. So Persona 5, the original, was 7 palaces, and we'll get back to what the palaces actually are. You had a bunch of different confidants like Aunt Kamiki and Sakura and Yusuke, and of course your favorite little guy. How do I describe him? Sakamoto-san is a rebel. Does he really? He does. He starts like a rebel without a cause, but then he becomes a rebel with a cause. It's really Breakfast Clubby. So, anyway, Persona 5 is that. It's still 7 palaces. And then Persona 5 Royale introduces some new palaces. One is like 5 seconds for one of the new characters, who I absolutely love, Kasumi. And then the other is for the guidance counselor, and that might be a bit longer, but I won't spoil too much for you here. And the platinum trophies for this game, because you enjoy platinum hunting from here and there, yeah, right? So the Platinum Trophy is fairly easy for Royale, fairly complex for the original. What makes the original so much more fulfilling, though, and why I might recommend starting with it, is if you really like the game, then you will get to play the game all the way back through again with new characters, locations, and palaces. But it is more difficult in the sense that it takes multiple playthroughs technically. Persona 5 Royale does not require that, so to each their own, of course. And sumimasen. It just means excuse me. But yeah, if I had to choose, I would actually say I preferred the more difficult Platinum Trophy, and P5R Persona 5 Royale was a lot more just fun, go through the story, enjoy the game again. I love the combat for this game. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So you start as the Phantom Thieves, and you can just look at those sticky notes whenever. You start as the Phantom Thieves, and the Phantom Thieves really start from the ground up. It starts with one member, and then gets two, and then two becomes three, three becomes four, four, and so on. You eventually get to be confidants or partners with Makoto, so that's a big day. And it's so much fun when it comes to the Phantom Thieves. I don't want to spoil too much for you here, but the way they form slowly one by one, you get a little bit of deeper understanding about a lot of the characters. The first palace is super messed up, and just a trigger warning, if, I know we've talked, but if you have anything that you haven't gone over with me, this game does have very heavy topics. So if you're going through something, maybe wait to play the game. But it's a great game. And Ryuji is one of my favorite offensive use case characters. He is just so much fun in the grand scheme of things because he's the only counterculture person there at first. So, and he wasn't always like that. He was the leader of another group at one point. The story's fascinating. The story's fantastic. Again, don't want to ruin too much. The Velvet Room. Speaking of the Velvet Room, we must take a step back real quick and explain that Joker, the main antagonist here, you see that is in his arm, that's a Phantom Thief letter, and they give that to all of the people that control the palaces when the time is right. Because in order for people to unlock their treasure, it has to be known that someone is going to try to steal it. But the original story is our guy Joker, and he basically stumbles into a scene that he probably shouldn't. You know how that is, right? Up top. Alright. Didn't know we were leaving people hanging. Fair enough. You've changed. You've changed. Stumbles into something he has seen that isn't right, and he stands on the side of justice, even though he's just a teenager. Stands up to this bald gentleman that is in politics and is a very powerful man. Doesn't realize it at the time. Guy kind of ruins his life and he gets sent off to boarding school, kind of thing. So, getting back to where we were, we get to the Velvet Room. The Velvet Room contains Caroline and Justine, or Caroline and Justine, but come on now. And they are the basically wardens of your cell that you are trapped in the Velvet Room. In the middle of them, in the middle of the room that they are in, is our guy Igor, who is going to help you with your persona fusions, your registry, your training, things like that. He's kind of like a Pokemon daycare in a sense, where you can leave a persona with him. He's just like, okay, I'll train him up, I got you. Cool dude though. There's that sticky note here. The personas. This is where I'm not sure where your religious beliefs are, but low-key, this game is kind of not religious. It doesn't have a religious agenda per se, but the personas are named after spirits, demons, and all sorts of things. You've got Raphael, you've got Sataniel, and you've got Lucifer, and you've got Michael, and so many more. Shiva, to jump into another religion. It's very fun, but it does toe the line for a lot of religious people. And I tell that to you as just a forewarning. The game does push on a lot of triggers for a lot of people. An amazing game, and it does have a really good message per se, but the personas, I can see how they look to several different religions. Again, I was gonna skip over this. It's a turn-based RPG, but hear me out. It's low-key better than Pokemon. It's more exciting than Pokemon. It's like an adult version almost, in the sense of how the turn-based synergy works. Because it'll tell you the weaknesses once you actually know that persona's weakness. It will allow you to use the old Pal World gun. It will allow you to do a baton pass to an ally. If you hit a weakness, you can then baton pass to another ally. And if they hit a weakness, then you can do another baton pass. And I say this, and the whole time, if you hit all the personas with weaknesses, they're all gonna fall down, and basically then you can perform an all-out attack. And depending on who you launch the all-out attack with, it is going to be a different animation. There's quite a few duo animations, which is really cool. But the turn-based is so satisfying. I've tried this kind of turn-based in the past, and I've even tried Persona 4 Golden and Persona 3 Portable, and also the original Persona 3. Couldn't get through any of those games. I thought about live streaming them someday, but I'd have to live stream. What? You know I don't live stream. Yeah, of course. It's so silly to think me, a live streamer. But anyway, with Reload though, it's a little more like the Persona 5 visual style of gameplay in turn-based, a little more. And Persona 4 Golden's not that far off. To be fair, I played Persona 4 Golden, which is a remaster of Persona 4. And now it's getting a new remaster called Persona 4 Revival. And that's where you're lucky here, because I've got all this information, but literally we just got the announcement. Persona fans are eating good. Persona 4 Revival is coming out next February, and then Persona 6 was teased, and it looks super dark. It's kind of like Persona 3 dark a little bit, where the teaser takes place in a graveyard. So I'm really interested in that. Not that I'm Whoa, graveyard. No, I'm not like the goth kids on South Park, but I mean, like, it's a little edgy. It's a little bit of that Green Day feeling from the early 2000s. A little rebellious. Persona fusions. This is where you can take 2, 3, or 3 personas, or more, sometimes depending on the type of fusion, and create a different persona. The endgame of regular Persona 5, like OG Edition, is a grind for this. I can't tell you, whenever I play these games, I have to have something up on my phone that's just like a guide for the confidants, for the fusions. I've got to know where it's all going. Yeah, it's a little crazy, don't get me wrong, crazy. I was crazy once. They put me in a rubber room with rats. Rats make me crazy. Crazy. I was sorry. But yeah, the Persona fusions, cool animations. You'll find yourself skipping them after the first few times of doing it. Eventually you start to stack up and need like 4 or 5 or 6. I don't know if there's any 6, but definitely 4 or 5 personas to get the really high level things. But that's endgame, baby, not Avengers. Shujin Academy, that is the school you are sent to where many of your upcoming friendships come from. And that includes when you meet Ryuji, when you meet Ann's a little, I guess, yeah, Ann's a little bit of the same as Ryuji in a sense. Mona is a little bit of the same, or Morgana. But the rest you find at school. You do see them around if you know what to look for. But it's very, very cool. We went over Igor, Caroline, and Justine, but a little bit more about Caroline and Justine is in Persona 5 Royale. It is actually really cool. One of them will give you tasks to basically complete. And eventually you do end up fighting them. I don't know if that's in the OG Persona. It's been a little bit since I played that one. But you definitely do end up fighting that one. Hold the phone. I forgot the most important sticky note. Mementos. It is very different between Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royale. Persona 5, it is basically a place where it's the underbelly of all of society. Shadows are just the forms of people who are feeling mistreated and feel owed or feel a certain heaviness and certain entitlement, depending on the character. But entitlement does follow a lot of them. A lot of them are just very mentally ill, and it's kind of sad. But Mementos and Persona 5 Royale, same basic thing. Beautiful art style, by the way. Mementos is going to be one of the last places you go. But in Persona 5 Royale, it's a little bit of the same. That same underbelly feeling, it's the same look and feel. But now there's a new confidant who allows you to level up and upgrade Mementos. It's freaking phenomenal. Don't take my word for it. When you play it, you'll understand. That's kind of why it's kind of a original trilogy Star Wars versus prequel trilogy. Or, no. It's like Dragon Ball versus Dragon Ball Z. If you start with Dragon Ball Z, it's kind of harder to go back to the originals because the original's so much slower. But if you start with Dragon Ball and you grow in that relationship, then by the time you play Royale, you'll have such an appreciation for so many things. And there is new locations, I'll get to that in a moment. But Mementos you can upgrade. It allows you to get more items, more money. And while we're talking on this idea, there is something called the Reaper in Mementos, and it's in both games. Very, very different ways of beating it, especially for the first time over on Royale. I actually had the footage at one point. I was like, hey, this would really help a lot of people. I don't know why I didn't ever post that video. I think I still have the footage, honestly. But it's how to beat the Reaper in Persona 5 Royale for the first time. First, let me get to Persona 5. During flu season, you can simply go in, find the Reaper. It appears after like 5 minutes of idle time. You'll hear it because it'll be like yanking chains, and you'll know that it's on its way to you. You're going to want to attack first. One of the things with Persona is if you attack shadows from behind, you actually get... Hey, is that your friend? Okay, do they want to join in? Perfect. So basically, yeah, almost there, I swear. So you wait till flu season basically for the Reaper, and we'll go back to what I was saying in just a moment. But once you do that and the Reaper has the flu, if it doesn't have the flu, run away. But if it has the flu, you just sit there on defense, and it'll eventually succumb to its illness, I think is how it goes, or how it puts it. And bam, you get like 100,000, 70 to 100,000 XP easy. Then you can go to another floor, the Reaper will be back, get another easy 70 to 100k, make sure it has the flu, please. What I was saying about the shadows though, is the shadows, if you attack them from behind, you can ambush them, which means you get first attack rights, and that is crucial in so many battles, because the one thing I haven't mentioned about Persona 5 is if you die, you go all the way back to your last save. One thing you're going to learn very quickly, and I'm telling you this now for when you play it: save often, save frequently. Every save room, save. Every time you're low on health or anything, go back to your save room. I don't care how far it is, it's worth the trek. Now when you do save, I believe it resets all the enemies in an area. However, super worth it. I think I lost like 3 hours once. That's enough to just be like, okay, yeah, I remember. But save all the time, I swear. I will find you if I find out that you don't be saving. You best be saving me. You best be saving me. No, not man. Mang. You'll get it later. But Persona 5 Royale, this is going to be a much more difficult Reaper fight. And your first time, my biggest strategy, my biggest cheat for this actually doesn't start when you fight the Reaper. It starts by you finding tons and tons of items that do base level damage. The first few times you fight it, you're not going to outdo that damage. My favorite is the 250 base damage, and it doesn't matter about, weakness or anything, because it's just going to do that amount of damage. And that will melt it, and then simply put everyone else in defense whenever it's going to attack, and you're bing chilling. Like, low genuinely bing chilling. Of course, yes. It's a lot more difficult. You may run out of items. Like, it takes a lot of items. It takes a lot of patience. You're gonna want a healer that can heal all of your allies. Honestly, every time I have Morgana, mainly because Morgana will heal all allies the way I set them up. But brings me to confidants in relationships. I swear there was only 2 more sticky notes, and then we can game, we can ball out, we can have some fun. But I do appreciate you letting me go through this with you and try to sell you on playing a game that means a whole lot to me. Confidants are going to be your non-playable, like, you can't team up with them. And technically they still are your confidants, but there are a subsect of confidants you can team up with, and a subsect you can't. Takami is one of those ones where you can't, and on Takamaki is one that you can. Could have picked different names. Let's go Kawakami. If you know, you know. You'll know. You'll know what I mean. Kawakami is someone you can't technically team up with. However, I highly recommend you follow her relationship path. And then on to Kamaki or Ryuji Sakamoto. And the reason for a Kawakami is when you get back from mementos or a palace, you don't have to go to bed right away, because usually you'll have to go to bed right away. And the thing with Persona 5, especially the OG, but definitely also with Royale, is you want that nighttime period to be open so that you can go out and explore Tokyo and do things that will advance your social star. And there are several trophies around that social star. Like, you have to max out your knowledge. To do something, you have to max out your charm. To finish some relationships. And Kawakami just makes that way easier. I'm not gonna say any more, but as soon as you learn who Kawakami is, you're gonna be like, there's no shot, right? Yeah. But all your confidants do fun and amazing things for you, or their teammates that do fun and amazing things for you in battle, and the relationship building is so much fun. And you don't always level up your rank with your confidants, but it's always cool to just spend that time with them, to get like a checkup text, and then just enjoy that. Finally, palaces are built on terrible individuals, and low genuinely, like low Kirkenly, it starts with the worst, in my personal opinion. I'm just the messenger, but it is a super, super dark palace. All I can say is it involves a teacher. It's not Kawakami, no. But it is really messed up. And from there it kind of immediately lightens up, because then you get into, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it does go uphill from there for a while. I don't think it goes back downhill. It goes like, it starts you all the way up here, then it drops down, and then kind of rides away for a little bit, goes up a little bit, then back down. But yeah, how are you feeling? Like, or are we about to spend the rest of tonight, you, me, and your friend, doing this, like playing Persona the first time? And if so, which version? Man, it does suck that you don't own it, but you are never going to believe what I brought over. True. I didn't know we were going to be talking about this or playing it. But who's the prepared one now? I gotta get do you have a phone charger, by the way? Yeah, she's gonna be livid. Especially if I don't call her back at some point. because a text is not going to undo what we did there at the beginning. Doesn't have to be we, no. She likes you, so I'm sure it's fine. But we were low-key originally having a date night tonight, but I'm like, hey, my friend contacted me. It means so much to me. If you would let me go and visit them, they mean so much to me as a friend. And I basically just begged her to come over. She was like, yeah, low-key, I feel like a kid, like we were gonna have a sleepover. But tonight is gonna be awesome. And I will definitely have some making up to do. You ready? Perfect. Fire that bad boy up. Do you mind if I go get some snacks? Yes, let's go. Thank you. I actually brought some with me too, but I put them by the door. Alright, see you in a minute. On to the next chapter.